Well, it's mid-March and I'm once again at Rocky Point for a swim. Air temperatures 4°C. Water I was in a couple of days ago was about 9. This is the first time I brought my camera along since early February when the water was between 1 and 3, depending on which thermometer you want to believe, and the air temperature was -4. So today we'll seem probably balmy in comparison. Anyways, I normally bring the camera along when it looks like there's going to be some nice sunrise or something, and try and get a time lapse of it. But that's not the case today. Today the weather's kind of rainy and dismal. I don't think there'll be much to get a time lapse of. But instead, I'm actually going to try and perform a bit of an experiment today. So I thought I'd bring along the camera and video at least some bits of the experiment as a bit of a record. Anyways, what I'm going to do is, if I can find it, hunt around. Yeah, here we go. Hopefully I'm holding that in the right place for you guys to see. This is a mixture of cornstarch and water. So it's nothing exotic. This is what we used to just use cornstarch to get into our wetsuits when we used to dive in Rubitech suits, Skin 2 Rubitech suits. I find with these, this is a Yamamoto 45 suit with open cell inside, as they call it. I find that cornstarch doesn't really work. It doesn't provide enough lubrication to get into this suit, so I'm not bringing it out for lubrication. I'm trying to use it to see if it'll add some insulation. So, you know, you always get some water in your suit, and of course water mixes very easily. It stirs around and so forth. So there won't be any temperature gradient in the water inside your suit between your skin, the exterior body, and the inside of the wetsuit. So it's providing no insulation or almost no insulation. This stuff, on the other hand, now that I mix it with a bit of water, it's quite a thick slurry. I think it won't mix that easily inside your suit. So in theory, it could form a bit of a thermal gradient between your skin and the inside of your wetsuit, and maybe add a bit of insulation capability. And even if it doesn't add insulation capability, the fact that it's taking up space means there isn't that space with water flowing in it. So we'll give it a try, see how it works. I mean, I picked cornstarch for something to try initially because, you know, it's non-toxic. It doesn't pollute, as far as I know. It washes off relatively easy when you're done. So it's kind of an innocuous substance to try and see if it does anything. Of course, it'll just make it worse. Almost every experiment I've ever done like this has just made things worse. So we'll see. Anyways, I haven't brought that much. I don't expect to actually produce much in the way of thermal insulation with this. I just want to try it out. I'm going to put it on one of my arms, see if I can get into my wetsuit after that easily, see if it stays on my inside on my arm as I'm swimming, or, does it all get washed away in 5 minutes and it's useless? Stuff like that, just sort of practical things. I guess I may see if one arm is slightly warmer than the other, but given that the water's 9 or 10 degrees, and I'll be working pretty hard. I don't typically get cold when I do this. I'm usually reasonably warm, even in a 3 mil wetsuit. So we'll see if I can notice any thermal effects. I mean, the main point of this is for free diving, not for swimming. Don't really have a need here. Anyways, despite the fact that it's so much warmer than it was in February, it always seems a bit on the chilly side when you first have to get out of your nice warm car and get into the water. Anyways, I'm going to go pull down to the boat launch ramp and give it a go. Always roll my window down before backing down the boat launch, just in case one makes a mistake and ends up in the drink. Hopefully not. Okay, I think I'm in a reasonably okay position on the boat launch without driving the car down into the water. I always leave my bag with my wetsuit, at least in the winter, on the floor of the car where I can get the heater to warm up the wetsuit, etc. while I'm driving. Okay, and now to try smearing on this stuff. Looks good. I mean, it looks like the kind of thing that might actually do something. Well, getting it on, getting my wetsuit on was probably a little bit easier with that slurry on there. So that's good. Any fear that it would have been a problem for getting the wetsuit on seems to be unfounded. Okay, swim is done. Let's see if any of that cornstarch is still sticking on my body. Well, as you can see, cornstarch is still stuck on there pretty good. So if it was providing any insulation capability, probably continuing to do so. Although it's, I would say, probably a lot wetter now, and more liquidy than it was when I first got in. This is not a particularly long swim. There's still a fair bit there too. Well, swim done. Time to get ready to head home. It's a short swim, still having some joint issues, so don't want to push it too hard. I did feel that the cornstarch made my left arm, and maybe shoulder area warmer, at least in the beginning. Towards the end of the swim, I noticed some water was getting in there. I don't know if that was because of the cornstarch or in spite of it. I mean, one of the things about a swim like this, I'm not wearing gloves, so water can get into my in my wetsuit through the wrists. So it's not clear, you know, what would happen if I was actually free diving and I was wearing wetsuit gloves, which would seal things up a bit better. But of course, free diving, when it's diving down, wetsuit's compressing, that gives opportunity for water to get in more. So it's a little inconclusive at this point. It did seem to help a bit. Hopefully I can get back to free diving. If I do, then I can give it a really solid try and see if it really does help keeping one warmer when one's in the water. But right now it seems promising, and if this doesn't work, that was just cornstarch. I actually mixed a little bit of slippy in there, not very much. The slippy didn't seem to do anything, but it's possible that some other compound could be mixed in or substituted instead of the cornstarch. It might keep you a bit warmer. Probably something like lard would work, but I don't really want to coat myself in lard. That would be a pain to get rid of at the end of the dive and might be bad for your wetsuit. Anyways, it was an interesting experiment.